Well guys, here we are at the park again today. I'm going to make a video that I hope will be of help to some people, because I think a lot of people need to hear what I have to say in this video. Right now, though this park is pretty empty right now, you might be able to hear those cicadas still yet. That's one reason that I'm here, because at my house, it is completely noisy. It sounds like a car alarm going off all the time with those cicadas, the way they sound. It is absolutely loud and ridiculous. But the park right now is pretty empty. This is actually Oneida City Park, and usually there's more people here walking and things, but right now there's just like one or two people walking around the track, looks like, over here. A huge lake here. Decent fishing. At least it used to be. I've not fished here in several years, but it used to be, pretty decent as far as fishing went. But anyway, how many people do you know that are actually truly happy? Think about it. Not this fake happy, not this Facebook, posting their photographs on Facebook, pretending to be happy, showing their wonderful lives and their big smiles. Most of that's all fake. How many people do you actually know that are actually truly happy? Very, very few. Are you yourself? Are you happy? Most likely you're not, because most people actually aren't. Life has its ups and downs. You have days you feel better, days you're not as sad, days you're not as depressed. But overall, most people just are not happy whatsoever at all. It's unfortunate, it really is. But, that's the reality of the life that we lead here now. Most people aren't happy, most people are in misery. And I think a lot of that is because we have unrealistic expectations. We think that things should be a certain way. We think that what we see on television, on the Hallmark Channel, on wherever, the fake happy we see on Facebook and things, we think that is the way it's supposed to be. And people try to live up to that unrealistic view of life that they see on Facebook, that they see, on television shows and things like that, when it's not really that way. That's not real life. They have these expectations, and they try to make these expectations, but then they never can get there. They can get closer sometimes, and then it fades away. They'll have happiness for a little bit, maybe a new relationship, a new job or something like that, and they will be happy for a little while, or at least think they are, and then it ends. It doesn't last. That's because it's not true happiness. It's just fleeting happiness. And like I said, it goes away really quickly. Put the camera down here. This is kind of an unflattered angle, kind of looking up this way. But unrealistic expectations. I've had those myself. I have had this life that I imagined the way things would be. And you strive for that, and you never reach that. And after a while, especially over the years of working, slaving, planning, trying to get to that fantasy life that you have, that life that you've made up in your head that's actually unrealistic expectations of what life actually is, after a while, it gets depressing. It really does. And it makes you sad and miserable. That's one of the main things, I think, one of the main reasons that most people are sad. The reason most people actually hate their lives, because they have unrealistic expectations. You need to be happy, you have to actually base your life and your dreams on reality. Some things, it just isn't reality. And people don't realize that. And it's not giving up. You know, it sounds like, oh, he's giving up. He's not worried about anything. That's not actually what it is. It's not giving up. You need to have realistic expectations instead of thinking that you have to have things a certain way, because you don't really have to. So guys, in my opinion, the first step in actually finding happiness in this world, actually not hating your life, actually not hating getting up in the morning, is to set realistic expectations. If you have realistic expectations, then when you get up in the mornings, you don't get up, sit on the side of your bed and think, oh, golly, gee whiz, here we are again, another day, another friggin' day. I've been there. I know all about it. So I know, how it feels. And you start your whole day off thinking that it's going to be miserable, because you'll probably make it that way because you're thinking that, and because you have unrealistic expectations of your life, have been able to meet, and you've worked and you've tried and you've toiled and you went through crisis, you went through sacrifice, and you still aren't there. So set realistic expectations for your life. What can you actually do to make yourself happy? I mean, what do you need to make you happy? And make it realistic and set those goals. Don't set goals that are completely unattainable. I want to be a famous rock star. I want to be a movie star. I want to be mega rich. I want to do this and that. Maybe you can, but most people can't. I want to have a great marriage, great relationship. I want to have kids. I want to have a family and grandkids. And usually you try, you get married, and it just falls apart a lot of times. That makes you sad too. Makes you hate your life because you had it and then it's gone. And that's another thing we focus on way too much that makes us miserable and makes us hate life. And that is living in the past. Living in the past is one of the worst things you can possibly do to yourself, because it makes you miserable. If you had happiness one time, in your past, you want that back. And you try every way you can to get that back. And you think about that. You think, man, I was happy then. Things is going great. I wish I had that back. Man, I really screwed up. And you repeat that. You see your life that you had every day and you think about it. You think about maybe past relationships, other times when you were happy. You think about that and it makes you miserable, because you see this, what you had, and you've been trying for 10 years to get some resemblance back to what you had, and you just can't make it. And after a while you say, golly gee whiz, here I am. What am I going to do? I don't want to be here no more. This is miserable. I want that happiness I had back, because that feeling felt really, really good. And you're trying to get that back. And you beat yourself up about things that happened in the past. You worry about things that happened in the past way too much. And, we all think about the past. I know I do, and I've been guilty of this big time, in the past. Thinking about and wondering about the things I had in the past, the life I had, relationships I had at the time. And I was happy, and it got all screwed up. And I thought about that a lot. I beat myself up about things a lot. And it makes you miserable, it really does. You get really miserable really, really quickly living in the past. So unrealistic expectations about life, thinking it's going to be this fantasy when it really isn't, and living in the past, both definitely sucks. The trains are coming, so I want to stop the video for a few minutes here, then we'll pick back up here in a minute. And guys, another thing that really makes us hate life, makes us depressed, makes us sad is worrying about the future. I've worried about the future so much in my life. I see, so many bad things happening. I see politics, I see the world, I see the degradation, of society. I see all these things, and I look into the future, and I'm thinking, man, how's the future going to be? And it really makes you kind of depressed, kind of anxious. You need to pay attention to what's going on, but worrying about the future too much will definitely make you depressed. You need, to prepare for things, like having, say, a savings fund of, $5,000, $10,000 for emergencies, maybe some food storage in case something happens, extra backup power sources like a generator, something like that, just in case. But worrying about things all the time, worrying about the future, things you can't change, really, truly does suck after a while. And it will sap your life energy, because every day we're bombarded with one disaster after another, it seems. I mean, just pow, 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 pow. They keep us looking all the time, watching all the time, wondering all the time. They want to keep us fearful, frightful, because it just keeps everyone looking over here while they're doing whatever over there. But the truth of the matter is, you can't change it. We can't do a thing about it whatsoever. We can't do anything about it whatsoever at all, besides try to be prepared for it and then stop worrying about it. If you worry about the future, it will drive you crazy. Because if you start looking into things, the future looks kind of rough. It actually does. But you can't think about it all the time. And maybe, maybe it will get better. You can't change it anyway. So why worry about it all the time? You have your life now. You have what's happening in your life now. You have your own happiness. And you should worry about your own self, your own family, your own community, what you can change. Don't worry so much, about politics, about things happening on the other side of the world. Don't worry so much about things you can't change. Worrying about all these future events, all these things, will drive you crazy. It'll make you really, really sad, and you can't enjoy the time you have now. You can't enjoy the time that you have now, because you're spending all of your time worried about the future, worried about things like death too. I mean, it's not just world events and things like that in politics. It's worried about, your own death. People do. People worry about getting sick. They worry about their family. It's natural to worry some. You can't get out of worrying some. But focusing on the future all the time really does suck, and it keeps you awake at night. I spent many of a sleepless night worrying about what ifs, worrying about the future. And one trick I've learned, to sleep better at night is, if I'm worried about something, I will tell myself, I'll worry about this tomorrow. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it, but I will worry about it tomorrow. I will try to figure out what to do to fix this tomorrow, or to prevent this from happening tomorrow. But tonight, I'm going to lay down here, I'm going to get some good sleep, I'm going to get some rest, and it's going to be a great night. But I will worry about this crap tomorrow. No need to worry about it, right now. Can't change it, can't do anything about it. So worry about it tomorrow. Worry about it tomorrow. And that's what I do, and it definitely does work. So unrealistic expectations, living in the past, worrying about the future, definitely makes life more miserable. It really, truly does. There's somebody walking at the park anyway. I've seen about 4 people so far over here. So that is a pretty good day, to do video at the park. Because the more people are around, the more difficult it is to do videos, because they're wondering, what the crap's this guy doing holding this camera here doing these videos? So that's one of the things about doing videos in public that kind of sucks, because people are always trying to figure out what the heck you're doing. Are you filming them, or what are you doing? Are you a pervert? Are you something wrong with you or something? Are you spying on people or something? I mean, it's kind of stressful filming in public. Another thing you got to get used to if you're doing YouTube, filming in public, because people like to see these videos, these different places and things. But unrealistic expectations, living in the past, worrying too much about the future. Those are the 3 things that mainly make people miserable, sad, unhappy, hating their lives. And that's the reason that a lot of people get on drugs. You know, prescription medications for depression and anxiety are everywhere. I mean, it's one of the biggest sellers for the big pharma. For big pharma is anxiety medications, depression medications, because people are sad, people aren't happy. That's why people get on drugs, they abuse alcohol. That's why people do all kinds of crazy things, because they're not happy in life and they want to drown that unhappiness. And usually, like I said, it's worried about unrealistic expectations, worried about the future, and living in the past. Now let's talk about a couple of other ways, besides, I'll worry about it tomorrow. Let's talk about a couple of other ways to actually feel better, and to some things you can actually do that will actually help to put things in perspective and to change your mindset to hopefully, make things better. Guys, a lot of the way you feel actually is based on your mindset. What you tell yourself every day repeatedly. We all do this, even if we don't notice it, we do this. We tell ourselves and feed ourselves negative things all day long. And we do this pretty much from the time that we are kids all the way up until the day we die. Negative thoughts, negative self-talk. And it definitely makes your life more miserable. Because if you tell yourself over and over and over again how miserable that you actually are, how sad that you are, how pathetic your life is, how you wish you could go back and change things. You tell yourself and repeat these things in your mind all the time. And after a while, it becomes a reality. Because you feed these thoughts into your mind, and it implants those thoughts into your subconscious mind, and you actually think those things are true. And the longer it goes, the more you think they're true, the more you think about it, the more that you believe it. And it's more difficult to get rid of it, because you keep repeating these things in your mind over and over and over again. And over time, you actually believe what you're saying to yourself. You actually believe all these thoughts that you're having. So guys, you have to change your self-talk, because the more negative that you feed your mind, the more you believe it, and the more negative your life will be. So change that self-talk. What I like to do is repeat as many times as I can during the day. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And I repeat this, out loud sometimes. I repeat this just in my thoughts. And after a while, it actually does help. I mean, you try it right now. You say that, say 50 times, and see if you don't feel better. It goes away quickly when you first start. However, after a while, after doing this for, a few weeks, several months, you actually notice that you do. Every day, in every way, you're getting better and better. It's huge, it really is. Feeding your mind positive thoughts, positive suggestions, and trying to push out, all those negative thoughts, all those negative thoughts that doesn't do any good, that actually hurts you, hurts your mental state, hurts your life. It makes you actually hate your life. Push those negative thoughts out. Anytime you start having negative thoughts, try to think, a positive thought. Or, like I said, say, in every way, every day, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. It does help. It sounds corny, but after a while, it does help, and it does work. It really, truly does. Try it. Another thing you can do, and this ties in with, unrealistic expectations, is to make a list. Write down what you would like to do, what would make you happy, the life you would like to have, but make it realistic. Make it obtainable. And write down the list, everything you can think about that make you happy. Then you can go back through that list, mark off things that are unrealistic, that aren't really obtainable, mark those off, and then work toward the things you can change, things that would make you happy. You know, the small things add up. The small things definitely count. If you can improve your life by 10%, that's an improvement. If you can improve your happiness by 10%, that's a huge improvement. It really, truly is. So doing that will definitely help your life be better all the way around, improving your life 10%. So you need to set realistic expectations. Stop living in the past. Stop worrying about the future. And feed yourself positive thoughts every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. You want to write it down. Everything you can think of that you think will make you happy. Mark out all done realistic expectations, and then work toward the things you can actually accomplish, things you can actually do to make you happy. If just doing something like going to the park, like I am right now, and just relaxing, going fishing to make you happy, and write that down and do it as much as possible. Do that all you can. Do things you enjoy all you can. That's one of the things I like about being self-employed. I've talked about this in other videos. That's why I like to be more frugal, because the more frugal I am, the more I save, the less money I have to make. So I have more free time. And I would rather have, free time than I would to work, and have more crap. Crap doesn't really make you happy. Having free time, having time to do what you want to do, that's what makes you happy. It isn't having crap, working overtime all the time, struggling because you want to make an extra dollar. It's not good at all, but a lot of people do it. Unfortunately, I've done it. I've worked overtime and done all this stuff before, and it really does suck. It really, truly does. Overtime sucks. Working every day of your friggin' life sucks, and you make a few extra dollars to pay bills, to have, nice things. But you look around, and after a while, your life is gone, and that makes you miserable. That makes you sad. So try to figure out things you can do that you like to do that makes you happy. Try to figure out, how you can live more frugally, so you can work less and do the things that you want to do more. Going to the park is free. It takes the gasoline to get here. It's like at your park. Going fishing license, a rod and reel, some tackle, $200. You can get a license, you can go fishing, you can use the rod and reel and the tackle over and over and over again if it makes you happy. Go hiking. You need some shoes, pretty much all you need, and start going. With your doctor's permission, of course, because it's a physical activity. You have to say that for these disclaimers in these videos. But do what makes you happy. Write it down and do as much of that as you possibly can. Get as much free time as you possibly can, because that will make you happy. It really, truly will. There's a guy that I used to work with, and his house is actually right over there, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. He worked all the overtime he could get. Overtime. He was there every day. Any overtime he could get, but I can't talk today. Any overtime he could get, he was there working it. And it wasn't that he needed the money. He was probably, at the time, about my age actually. And he would work all the overtime. He had no wife, he had no kids. And he was just putting the money back, putting that money in the bank, or under his mattress or wherever, because he didn't buy anything as far as I saw. He had an old truck he drove. The house he lived in, which is right over here, he got that, if I'm not mistaken, from his parents. And he lived there while he was working, while he was young enough, while he was making all kinds of money. And he was so stingy, such a tightwad, trying to save those dollars, those paper currencies, those they're not really paper, but they're kind of cloths and something else mixed together, I think. But anyway, that's irrelevant. He worked himself to death for those Federal Reserve notes, to put those back, because he wanted to have a big bank account. And the house he got was from his parents, like I said. And he let the house completely fall in while he was living there, making that money, and was too stingy to actually repair his home, to actually fix the roof, and it just fell in, and you ought to see it now. So, like I said, I'll show you here in a minute. But he let the house fall in, and I don't know if he's still alive or not. I mean, He may still live there. Heck, if I know, the whole top of the house has fell in, the porches fell in. I mean, it's definitely in bad condition. But he was too stingy to fix his own house, to fix his own roof, because he wanted to have that currency. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'd rather have worked to fix my house, something positive, than to try to save that currency. And if you need to work to do something like fix your home, that's a different thing. If you need to work overtime for a while because you need to catch up, like on home repairs and things like that, or catch up on your bills, that's different. You need to do that. It sucks, but sometimes you have to. But take all the time off that you can, but don't worry so much about that currency. Don't worry so much about putting that currency in the bank. Now let's go over here and look at this guy's house right now. All right, guys, there's the guy's house. You can see it is definitely, he let that house just fall in. Unfortunately, you can see the roof has fell in, the porches fell in, it's all grown up. Really, really sad considering he got that free, you know, from his parents. Left it to that guy. And I ain't gonna say his name because, you know, it's not nice to call people out. But some people that will know, you know, whose house that actually was. He worked, saved, and let his house fall in around him. Didn't enjoy life, spent his whole life working, slaving. Anyways, guys, the video is getting kind of long. It's probably about 30 minutes now. One of my longer videos. Some videos, some messages, I mean, take longer to put together because it takes longer to say. And hopefully you get something from it. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it can help change your life, you know, to the better, even a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be huge changes. Any little improvement, anything to the plus that improves your life, any life improvement is a plus. So hopefully something in this video will help you to have a better life, to stop hating your life, to stop worrying about the past, to stop worrying about the future, to stop setting unrealistic expectations. Hopefully, if you can do at least a little bit of that to make your life better. That's the goal of this channel, is to help people live better, live cheaper here in Appalachia, you know, and everywhere else. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to be sure to do that. And also, if you want to help the channel out, then go check out the Appalachian Freedom Files in the first pinned comment and description box below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.